Have you ever felt exhausted from constantly trying to be good enough in the eyes of others? Are you truly living or merely surviving in a world that keeps pulling you away from who you really are? And what if I told you that all it takes to begin a completely new path of healing is to pause, breathe, and turn inward? In this video, you won't hear loud, hollow, motivational talk. Instead, we'll explore 12 Buddhist principles, not as concepts to memorize, but as truths to live, to transform, and to return to the most authentic version of yourself. Imagine a life where you no longer chase validation or approval from anyone. A life where your mind is no longer disturbed by outside noise, and your direction is no longer shaped by other people's opinions. Each morning, instead of waking up to chaos or pressure, you rise to the gentle voice within you, the one you used to ignore, drowned out by the world's noise. Now you are alone, but not lonely, because you've had the courage to let go of what no longer nourishes your soul. And in that quiet, something powerful begins to awaken clarity, strength, and truth. This is not escaping the world. It is returning to yourself, what Buddhism calls the root of true transformation. The Buddha taught healing doesn't happen when we surround ourselves with noise. It happens when we dare to sit with ourselves in the stillness of our own heart. When no one is interrupting, the soul finally has room to breathe, to restore, and to be reborn. That is where the true path to healing begins. You don't need anyone else to complete you. Everything you need has always lived within you. Today, we begin that journey with 12 Buddhist principles that will refresh your mind, heal your heart, and lead you home to who you were always meant to be. Principle 1. Let go of the illusion of control. Most of the pain in life doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our struggle to control what was never ours to manage. We want others to behave a certain way. We want life to follow a perfect plan. We dream of a scenario where nothing goes wrong, nothing is lost, nothing catches us off guard. But life rarely works that way. People are imperfect. The world constantly shifts. And fate, well, no one can predict it. Instead of suffering when things don't go your way, the Buddha reminds us, you only lose what you cling to. The tighter you hold on to expectations, the more it hurts when they aren't met. But when you learn to release that grip, you also learn how to live fully in the present. You stop forcing others to change. You stop trying to fix everything. You stop demanding perfection. And in that moment, you enter a new state of being, one of acceptance, peace, and inner wisdom. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing wisely to stop wasting energy on what you can't control so you can focus on the one thing you always can yourself. True power lies not in control, but in response. Your strength isn't found in controlling every part of life. It's found in how you meet life with grace, with balance, with grounded presence. Life won't always wait until you feel ready, but you will always have the power to choose your response. And in that response lives your real power. In today's modern world, it has never been easier to avoid ourselves. Whenever we feel sad, bored, or anxious, all it takes is a quick reach for the phone. A song, a video, a few swipes through social media, and just like that, we've numbed ourselves from feeling what's truly going on inside. At first glance, this may seem harmless, but over time, it forms a dangerous habit. We forget how to be alone. We start feeling uncomfortable when there's nothing to do. We fear silence. We fear facing our own minds. And without even noticing, we begin to lose connection with who we really are. Buddhism teaches that true healing and transformation only begin when we stop running and dare to face ourselves. But why is sitting in silence so important? Because beneath the restlessness lies truth. Beneath the emotional noise are messages waiting to be heard. That quiet sadness, that subtle guilt, those longings you've pushed away, they're not here to harm you. They're here to guide you, to remind you of what you've forgotten, to gently lead you back home to yourself. When you learn to sit with yourself, no phone, no screen, no distractions, you begin to hear the voice that's been silent for far too long, the voice of your soul. And in that moment, you realize you were never empty. You were just unattended. You're not broken. You've simply gone unheard for too long. So don't view silence as punishment. See it as a pathway, a return to your truth. Let the awkwardness come. Let the feelings rise. Observe them like clouds drifting across the sky, without judgment, without trying to push them away. Just be there. Just listen. Because the very moment you sit with yourself, not needing anything to fill the space, not leaning on anyone to feel whole, is the moment you reconnect with who you truly are. And that's where transformation begins. Principle 3. Don't run from pain, because it's what leads to your rebirth. Most of us instinctively avoid pain. That's normal. We're taught to believe pain is something bad, something to fix or escape as quickly as possible. But in Buddhist wisdom, pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger, a mirror, a crack where the light enters the soul. The truth is growth rarely feels comfortable. It often looks like loss, like chaos, like everything falling apart. But just like a seed must crack open before it can grow into a tree, parts of you must fall away so something stronger, wiser, and more aligned can be born. Pain doesn't come to punish you. It comes to reshape you, to burn away what no longer serves your evolution, and to make space for the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. Only when you stop running, when you stop numbing the ache by burying yourself in busyness or screen time, can you begin to understand the deeper message pain brings. What seemed like a heartbreak may actually reveal what your heart values most. What you once called failure may have shown you a strength you didn't know you had. And what felt like isolating silence may be the exact space where your deepest wounds ask to be seen, held, and healed. You cannot rebuild your life if you're always avoiding what hurts. True healing doesn't happen in crowds. It doesn't come from denial. It begins the moment you sit down and ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? What is this pain here to teach me? Instead of blaming fate, that single question opens a new doorway where pain transforms into strength. The most peaceful people you'll ever meet aren't those who've never suffered. They are the ones who've had the courage to face their pain, to accept it as part of their human journey, and allow it to transform them from the inside out. So don't be too quick to escape your suffering. Let it burn away the version of you that was fragile, dependent, or lost. From those ashes, a new version of you will rise stronger, clearer, and more grounded in who you truly are. That is the hidden beauty of pain. When you meet it fully and consciously, it no longer destroys you. It becomes the very foundation from which you rebuild. Principle 4. Simplify your life to awaken your soul. We live in a time that glorifies more. More tasks, more possessions, more expectations. And in this relentless pursuit of more simplicity is often misunderstood as weakness or as falling behind. But in Buddhism, simplicity isn't about giving up. It's about returning to clarity, to truth, and to peace. Take a moment to reflect. How many things are you holding on to, physically or emotionally, that you don't really need? How much time and energy are you pouring into things that add no value to your inner life? The clutter filling your home, the overloaded schedule that leaves you breathless, the conversations that drain rather than nourish, the relationships that leave you feeling more tired than fulfilled. All of these slowly weigh you down, whether you notice it or not. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is craving, not just for material things, but also for attention, recognition, and the constant need to prove yourself or stay busy. But the path to freedom isn't found in adding more. It's found in letting go. Ask yourself honestly, what is truly essential to my peace? Simplify your space. Let go of items you no longer use or love. Simplify your relationships. Choose fewer, deeper connections over many shallow ones. Simplify your mind. Release the negative thoughts and worries that no longer serve you. And when you begin to live with less, something remarkable happens. You begin to feel more freedom, more breathing room, more energy for what truly matters. Simplicity doesn't steal your joy. It clears the way so you can feel that joy more deeply, more fully, and more consistently. When you simplify your life, you're also saying no to the things that never brought you real happiness to begin with. You stop chasing goals that weren't truly yours, and you stop letting societal pressure and external noise distract you from what your soul has been trying to say all along. Letting go of what no longer serves you isn't just about decluttering your home. It's about creating sacred space within your heart, a quiet place where your spirit can rise free from the pressure, free from the noise, untouched by the constant demands of the world. Slow down. Clear away what you don't truly need. Let your life become still enough that you can hear the voice within the one that's been waiting patiently beneath the chaos. Because the more lightly you hold on, the more fully you begin to live. The simpler your life becomes, the clearer your mind becomes. And the stiller your world is, the deeper you connect with the truest part of yourself. Principle 5. Become the observer, not the reactor. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is this: you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the one who observes them. But in daily life, we often forget this truth. It takes just one harsh comment, one passing worry, one old memory rising to the surface, and we react. Anger flares, anxiety floods in, sadness pulls us under. We say things we don't mean. We do things we later regret. And just like that, we're swept away by temporary emotions, drifting further and further from who we really are. But Buddhism offers us another path, the path of awareness. Instead of being carried away by every wave of emotion, you learn to stay still, to simply witness. Like clouds floating across the sky. You don't chase them. You don't run from them. You just observe. When anger rises, you gently say to yourself, "Ah, anger is here." When fear appears, you whisper, "I see you, fear." And then you breathe, not to suppress it, not to let it consume you, just to let it pass, like a wave rolling by, never breaking you. This is the art of emotional mastery. This is how you stop being a victim of your mind and start becoming the driver of it. Because true strength isn't found in those who react the fastest. It's found in those who are still enough to choose peace. Even when everything around them feels chaotic, become the quiet observer of your own mind, and your entire life will begin to shift. Principle 6. Let go of the old self, the version of you that no longer serves your growth. Each of us carries an old version of ourselves shaped by wounds, fear, rejection, and past experiences. It might be the part of you that learned to please others just to feel accepted, or the version that always tries to prove they're good enough because once someone made you feel like you weren't. Maybe it's the version that stays guarded all the time, afraid of being hurt again. We carry this identity for years, sometimes a lifetime, believing this is who I am. But in truth, it's just a layer you've never taken off. Maybe you're holding on to a version of yourself that was labeled not enough, a self that constantly feels like a failure, a self that was once left behind, betrayed, criticized, told you were too much or not enough. And over time, without realizing it, you begin to believe in that version of yourself. You start to define your identity by those old wounds. You say things like, "I've always been anxious. I mess everything up. This is just who I am. I can't change." But Buddhism offers a radically different perspective. There is no fixed self. We are not static. We weren't born to stay the same. We are not meant to be trapped by past fears or failures. You can change. You can grow. You can be completely reimagined if you're willing to release the old layers that no longer reflect who you truly are. So gently begin to let go of the self that always doubts, the self that shrinks to please others, the self that keeps replaying the same painful story over and over again. You don't need to hate that version of you. It once helped you survive. It shielded you when you were most fragile. But now, you are no longer in that place. You are ready to evolve. And real growth asks you to let go of the identity built from wounds so you can create one shaped by awareness and wisdom. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It begins with small daily choices made in the present moment. Choosing kind words toward yourself instead of self-judgment. Releasing the repetitive story of failure. Standing taller. not out of pride, but because you remember your worth. Letting go of your old self is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world told you who to be. So breathe deeply. Forgive the version of yourself that was just trying to cope. And each time you move forward, remind yourself, I have the right to grow beyond the person I once was. Principle 7. Learn to walk alone and discover the sacredness in solitude. There will be times in life when you feel abandoned. No one listens. No one understands. No one walks beside you. The people you were once close to drift away. Relationships fall apart without warning. Support you once relied on suddenly disappears. And you ask yourself, why is there no one left beside me? But what if that loneliness isn't a punishment? What if it's a sacred invitation? In Buddhist teachings, solitude is not something to fear. It's something to honor. Because only when you are no longer consumed by outside noise, only when you're no longer being pulled by others' expectations, only when you stop trying to fit into a role that was never truly yours, can you finally meet the one person who matters most in your life, yourself. We live in a world that teaches us to fear silence and avoid being alone. But it's in those very moments of quiet, when no one else is around, that you get to look inward and discover that you were never truly alone. Not if you've learned to befriend your own soul. Today's world constantly pushes us to stay connected with friends, with social groups, with the newest information. But here's a truth few people talk about. Connection without self-awareness only leads to disconnection. You begin living to please others, smiling on the outside while exhausted inside, saying yes to things you should have declined. And slowly, you lose yourself trying to be who others want you to be. But only when you step back, only when you choose solitude, only when you walk away from the crowd, from the applause, from the pressure, can the illusion finally begin to fall away. You hear that inner voice again, the one buried beneath years of noise, and you begin to ask, what do I really want? What truly matters to me, not to them? What dreams, values, or beliefs once made me come alive? But I've long forgotten. The Buddha himself left a palace filled with luxury, comfort, and admiration, to walk alone in the forest. And it was in that solitude, beneath the Bodhi tree, that he awakened. Aloneness, when approached with intention, becomes the doorway to awakening. No more masks, no more expectations, just you and your truest self. No applause, no instructions, no one to catch you. only you walking forward because you believe you are worthy. But don't misunderstand, walking alone does not mean being lonely. It's a sign that something powerful is growing within you. The ability to stand without needing someone to hold you up. The quiet confidence of being your own best friend and feeling whole. If you find yourself on a quiet path right now, no company, no one who truly understands, don't assume it's punishment. It might just be preparation for something far greater, a journey that leads you to your greatest strength, the peace that comes from within. Principle 8. Choose mindfulness over multitasking. In today's world, multitasking is celebrated like a superpower. The busier you are, the more valuable you seem to be. But here's what no one tells you. The more you split your attention, the more you lose yourself in everything you do. You eat while scrolling on your phone. You listen while already preparing your reply. You walk while your mind spins like a whirlwind. Yes, you're alive, but you're living like a machine. No feeling, no presence, no real awareness. Buddhism offers a different way. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present, no matter how small or ordinary the moment. When you eat, just eat, savor every flavor. When you listen, just listen. Don't prepare your reply. When you walk, just walk. Feel your feet touching the ground as if every step matters. Why is this important? Because a scattered mind leads to a scattered life. You cannot feel joy, connection, or peace if your attention is pulled in 10 directions at once. Mindfulness doesn't just help you slow down. It helps you go deeper. It helps you live more fully within yourself and with the world around you. When your mind is fragmented by too many things happening at once, your life force begins to run dry. You rush from one moment to the next without truly experiencing anything deeply. And in doing so, you miss the quiet gifts that each moment offers. Peace, healing, connection. Mindfulness is the bridge that brings you back to the present, the only place that actually exists. When you are fully present, your nervous system begins to relax. The mental fog lifts. You see the world more clearly, and you reconnect with yourself on a deeper level. Suddenly, you notice the flavors in your meal. You hear the gentle rustling of the wind through the trees. You feel your own breath like a soft melody playing in your chest. And you realize life isn't waiting for you at the end of your next task. It's not hiding in some distant future. It's happening right now, in this very moment you're living. Even the smallest acts, washing the dishes, folding clothes, sipping tea, can become forms of meditation as long as you are fully there. So pause. Stop chasing what's next. Return to this moment, because this is where life is waiting for you to come home. Mindful living doesn't just help you be more productive. It helps you be more fully alive. Principle 9. Accept what is and respond with wisdom. One of the deepest roots of human suffering is resistance to reality. We want things to be different. We replay old mistakes. We regret past choices. We cling to anger or guilt over things we cannot control. But the truth is, no one heals by fighting what already exists. Buddhism teaches us a profound way of living, the balance between acceptance and action. Accept what has happened. Take action on what can still be changed. And most importantly, have the wisdom to know the difference. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean being passive. It simply means making peace with the present before deciding what comes next. If you keep fighting the past, you'll exhaust yourself. But if you can accept what cannot be changed, you unlock an incredible energy. Energy you can now use to take wise, intentional action. This doesn't mean staying silent in the face of injustice. It doesn't mean tolerating toxic relationships. But it does mean letting go of the need to rewrite the past. It means releasing your grip on outcomes you cannot control. Ask yourself, is this something I have the power to change? Oh, if yes, act with clarity and compassion. Oh, if not, take a deep breath and let it go. Let life flow forward. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. It means you stop fighting reality so you can meet it with strength and purpose. True, conscious action doesn't come from panic or urgency. It only arises when the mind is still. And when you accept reality as it is, you begin to see the next step clearly. And something amazing happens. You no longer feel like a victim of your circumstances. You break free from the cycle of regret and anxiety. You move forward, not in fear, but in peace. Because peace doesn't mean nothing's wrong. Peace is that quiet clarity within, even when life feels messy on the outside. So the next time your heart feels heavy, remind yourself, I will accept what is happening, and I will act on what I can change. Just hold that one simple but powerful mindset, and you'll be amazed at how deeply your life begins to shift. Principle 10. Choose compassion, especially for yourself. We often find it easy to be kind to others. When someone is hurting, we listen, we comfort, we offer softness. But when it's us who messes up, we become our harshest critic. We silently punish ourselves. We let guilt and shame eat away at us for days, weeks, sometimes years. Worst of all, we set impossible standards and then punish ourselves when we fall short. But here's the truth. No one can truly grow in a toxic environment, not even you. Buddhism teaches that compassion must begin in the very first home, your own heart. Being compassionate with yourself doesn't mean making excuses to stay stuck or lazy. It means recognizing that you are human. And being human means you will stumble. You will feel weak sometimes. You will need time to heal. When you make a mistake, speak to yourself the way you'd comfort a dear friend. It's okay. You're still learning. You're still worthy of love because the way you speak to yourself becomes the atmosphere your soul breathes every day. If it's harsh, your spirit will shrink. But if it's gentle, your spirit will bloom like a flower bathed in sunlight and trust. Think of a child learning to walk. When they fall, you don't yell at them. You cheer them on. You encourage. You hold out your hand to help them up. You deserve that same gentleness from yourself. Even in your weakest moments, you are not broken. You are becoming something greater. Even when life feels chaotic, you are not a failure. You are in the middle of transformation. Self-love does not make you weak. It is one of the greatest strengths you can cultivate. Because only when you stop fighting yourself can you finally create space to grow into your full potential. So pause, place a hand over your heart, and whisper to yourself, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I am still worthy. Take a deep breath and gently remind yourself, I'm doing my best. I'm still learning, and I deserve love, especially from myself. It's in that softness that true transformation begins. Not from harsh pressure, not from blame or the need to be perfect, but from a gentle understanding. Healing begins with compassion. One breath, one step at a time. Principle 11. If you want to break the cycle of your life, start by breaking one single thought. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind. Some are harmless, some are helpful, but many, without you even noticing, are slowly hurting you. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough. No one understands me. I mess everything up. What's the point of trying? And the real danger isn't just thinking them. It's when you start believing them. Because once a belief takes root, it quietly begins to shape your behavior. Thoughts influence choices. Choices shape actions. And actions create your life. The Buddha taught, "We are what we think. With our thoughts, we make the world." That means the life you're living right now is a reflection of the thoughts you repeat the most. If you constantly carry fear, you'll walk through life cautiously, always bracing for something bad to happen. If you hold on to anger, you'll carry it into every conversation and relationship. If you believe you're not enough, you'll always feel empty, no matter how much you have on the outside. But here's the good news. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just habits. They're well-worn paths in the mind built through repetition, not through truth. And anything built by habit can be changed through awareness. The first step is this: observe. Learn to look at your thoughts without getting pulled into them. When a negative thought appears, don't react. Just pause and gently ask yourself, is this thought actually true? Is it helping me grow? Does this thought bring me closer to the life I want? Very often, you'll realize it's just an old story your mind has played over and over again. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. For example, if you hear yourself think, "I always mess everything up," pause and respond with the truth, "No." That's a pattern, not reality. I've made mistakes, but I've also learned. I've grown. I'm no longer the person I used to be. And the moment you recognize a thought that no longer serves you, you free yourself from the loop it tried to trap you in. Your life doesn't change from one big decision. It changes the moment you become aware enough to interrupt a thought before it becomes a belief. Awareness is the first step. But simply noticing a negative thought isn't enough. You must replace it with a new thought, one that is vibrant, empowering, and aligned with your healing. When your mind says, "I'm not good enough," respond, "I'm growing," and growth is messy. When it whispers, "I'll never change," remind yourself, "I've already changed in ways I once thought were impossible." And if it says, "It's too late for me," transform it into, "Right now is the perfect moment to begin." This isn't toxic positivity. It's conscious mental training. Just like your body needs nourishing food, your mind needs nourishing thoughts to thrive. But be patient. Those old mental pathways, they weren't formed overnight. They came from years of repetition, from trauma stress, and unhealed pain. So when you begin shifting them, do it gently. Each time you pause a limiting thought, even once you're weakening its power. Each time you choose a new thought, you're rewiring your brain, building a new neural pathway. This is neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change and adapt, a truth the Buddha taught long before modern science ever proved it. Meditation is a powerful tool to support this process. When you sit in silence, you begin to hear the old recordings playing in your mind, the same tired thoughts looping over and over. But in that stillness, you also create space. Space to choose, to let go, to redefine, to breathe instead of react. At first, it may feel like effort, but over time, this conscious choice becomes natural. You'll stop believing every thought that passes through your mind. You'll become the observer, not the prisoner of your mind. And then you'll begin to think intentionally instead of being swept away by unconscious patterns. That's when transformation truly begins. Because when your thoughts shift, your beliefs shift. When your beliefs shift, your energy shifts. And when your energy shifts, your actions follow. And that's how your entire life changes direction. If you're feeling stuck in cycles of anxiety, anger, or sadness, pause and return to your thoughts. What story are you telling yourself? What assumptions are you holding on to that no longer serve you? What labels are you still wearing that it's time to release? And the most important question of all, what new thought will you choose today to take its place? Healing doesn't begin with a new job, a new relationship, or a new environment. It begins with a new thought. So observe, recognize, question, replace. And slowly, your mind will no longer be a battlefield, but a safe place to rest and be fully alive. It may sound too simple to be true, but in Buddhism, the breath is far more than air moving in and out of the lungs. It is the anchor that brings you back to the present. It is the gateway to awakening. It is the thread that connects the body, mind, and soul. When life becomes overwhelming, the mind has a tendency to flee, rushing back into the past to replay mistakes, or racing ahead into the future to predict what might go wrong. And just like that, you're no longer here. You're lost in thought, drowning in imagined worries and emotional storms. But your breath, it only exists in the present. It doesn't live in your memories. It doesn't wait in the future. It is now. It is here. And the moment you bring your awareness back to a single inhale and a gentle exhale, you return to life, to presence, to peace. For thousands of years, Buddhist monks have used breath awareness as one of the core practices for cultivating mindfulness and inner stillness. Because no matter where you are, no matter what is happening, you can always return to your breath. You don't need a device. You don't need money. You don't need anyone's permission. You only need one small decision. Pause and turn inward. And when you do, transformation begins. Your body relaxes. Your heart rate slows. Your thoughts become lighter. Your mind is no longer pulled by the storm outside. Try it now. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a moment. And exhale gently. This time, pay attention. Feel the cool air entering your nose. Feel your chest rising. And then the exhale like a soft wave returning to the ocean. This simple awareness may seem small, but it holds great power. Because when you're present in your breath, you realize you are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are not your anxiety. You are the one who breathes beneath it all. So when anger rises, come back to your breath. When sorrow knocks, come back to your breath. When anxiety tightens your chest, come back to your breath. Your breath won't change the situation, but it will change how you show up in that situation. And sometimes that presence is what changes everything. Closing this journey. These 12 Buddhist principles are not lofty theories. They are simple, powerful footsteps guiding you back to yourself. In a world that's loud, fast, and ever-changing, you don't need to chase after everything. You just need to come home. Back to the breath, back to truth, back to compassion, back to the whole radiant being within you who's been there all along, just waiting to be remembered. Breath is not just air entering your lungs. In Buddhism, it is the seat of prana life force, the vital energy that nourishes your entire being. When you breathe fast, shallow, and unconsciously, you feel scattered, exhausted, and tense. But when you breathe slowly, deeply, and with intention, you awaken a new current of energy within you. Steady, peaceful, and alive. Sadly, most of us go through life never realizing the healing power hidden in our breath. We breathe on autopilot, especially when we're stressed, rushed, shallow, and unaware. But the moment you begin to breathe mindfully, something magical begins to unfold. You're not just calming down. You're resetting your entire nervous system, body and mind alike. This is why meditation and breathwork aren't just spiritual practices. They're also emotional therapies, stress relievers, and powerful tools for physical well-being. Modern science now confirms what ancient sages knew. Mindful breathing lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. It increases heart rate variability, enhancing emotional resilience. It boosts your immune system and sharpens mental clarity. But beyond the theories, there's a deeper truth. Your breath is your lifeline to the present. The very first thing you did when you entered this life was breathe in, and the last thing you'll do before you leave is breathe out. Everything in between is simply a chance to begin again with each breath. So when your mind feels chaotic, when your heart feels heavy, when your soul is weary, don't rush out into the world looking for rescue. Pause. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your chest and just breathe. Let each breath become a silent prayer, a gentle reminder to yourself, I am still here. I am still alive. And this very moment is enough. Create small rituals. Breathe deeply each morning before the world pulls you away. Breathe slowly each evening as you close the day. Breathe between tasks. Breathe before responding, before reacting. Even one conscious breath has the power to shift your entire inner state. Because when you learn to master your breath, you begin to master your mind. And when you master your mind, you're not just free. You become someone new. Not because the world has changed, but because you've changed how you show up in it. So return to your breath. No matter what happens, your breath is your anchor, your quiet teacher, your safest refuge. Between one inhale and one exhale, you'll meet yourself again. Not the version the world has labeled, but the original, peaceful, whole version of you. In a world that constantly pushes you to run faster, achieve more, and prove yourself, Buddhism whispers something gentler. Pause. Be still. Look within. Because true transformation doesn't come from outside, not from applause, not from relationships, not from accomplishments. It begins in silence, in unseen moments, in your quiet decision to become yourself again. The 12 Buddhist principles you've just walked through are not abstract theories. They are invitations. An invitation to let go of control, to sit with yourself, to listen beyond the pain, to cleanse what no longer serves you, to react less and be more present, to shed the old shell, to walk alone with inner strength, to live mindfully with intention, to accept what cannot be changed, to offer compassion to yourself, to break free from mental loops, and above all, to return to your breath. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not late. You are awakening. Trust this path, even when it's quiet, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard. Because the strongest version of you will not be found in a crowd, but forged in the silent moments when it's just you and your truest self. Keep walking with courage and let peace walk with you every step, every breath. If these teachings have touched your heart, click subscribe so you don't miss the next healing journey. Sometimes all it takes is a quiet sentence, a moment of stillness to help you come home to yourself again. Let this channel be a sacred space in a noisy world. And if you're ready to take one more gentle step on your journey of awakening, continue to the next video where we'll explore the small daily habits that nurture lasting peace from within.